Good morning and welcome to News on Aneke TV, your trusted source for the latest stories making headlines across Nigeria and around the world. I'm Deborah Wakaba. Glad to have you join us. And now to the headlines. President Tinubu declares nationwide security emergency. FG cautions state against citing boarding schools in insecure areas. Relief has rescued Kebbi schoolgirls reunite with families. Kidnapped cleric reportedly killed in bandits' custody. And on the foreign scene, National Guardsmen shot near the White House. France detains 4 over alleged espionage for foreign power. Hong Kong blaze recorded as deadliest since 1962. Serbia moves to seize Russian-owned NIS refinery amid U.S. sanctions. U.S. President bars South Africa's 2026 visits following diplomatic row. And now to the details of the news. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has declared a nationwide security emergency following the escalation of violent attacks and mass kidnappings across several southern northern states. The directive mandates immediate large-scale recruitment into the Nigerian police force and armed forces to address critical manpower shortages hindering effective national security operations. The move signals the federal government's resolve to restore stability and reinforce public confidence in state institutions. Under the new emergency framework, security agencies are expected to accelerate intelligence gathering, strengthen rapid response systems, and deploy enhanced counter-terrorism strategies in high-risk corridors. The administration believes that increasing the numerical strength of personnel will improve territorial control and better protect schools, transport routes, and rural communities. President Tinubu has also directed service chiefs to ensure the recruitment exercise is transparent, merit-driven, and aligned to modern security needs. He emphasized that the government's immediate priority is in the protection of citizens, economic infrastructure, and national sovereignty, while long-term reforms will be introduced as the emergency response stabilizes affected regions. President Bola Tinubu has advised state governments to reconsider establishing boarding schools in remote or poor secured areas, citing the rising threat of mass abduction by armed groups. He also urged religious institutions to collaborate with security agencies for enhanced protection of worship centers in vulnerable locations. The president assured that ongoing rescue operations for abducted students, including those from St. Mary's Catholic School in Niger State, remain a top national priority. In the Federal Capital Territory, the Commissioner of Police, Mila Danta-Waye, announced the relaunch of Operation Sweep, with school, surveillance and intelligence gathering identified as key components. He explained that the operation will provide a structured security shield for educational and religious facilities, particularly in communities bordering high-risk terrorists. Meanwhile, FCT Minister Nyesom Wike denounced an unauthorized circular directing schools to shut down, describing it as a breach of protocol capable of inciting public panic. He suspended the Education Secretary responsible and reaffirmed that government-approved security measures remain in place. Similarly, an NGO, the Unique Care and Support Foundation, called for coordinated strategies in Borno, Yobe and Adamawa to prevent further attacks and safeguard the country's educational future. The Senate is advancing legislative measures proposing the death penalty as the maximum punishment for kidnapping in Nigeria. Lawmakers said the rising incidence of abductions targeting students, travelers, and rural communities require stronger deterrence, adding that existing penalties no longer reflect the severity of the national security risks. The amendment seeks to classify kidnapping as a capital offense where victims are held for ransom or subjected to harm. Supporters of the bill argue that criminal networks have become increasingly sophisticated and emboldened by weak enforcement. The move comes days after President Bola Tinubu declared a national security emergency, marking what lawmakers described as improved coordination between the executive and legislature. The bill will proceed to committee stages for public hearings before consideration for final passage in both chambers. 24 schoolgirls abducted from the Government Girls Comprehensive Secondary School, Maga, were reunited with their families in Birmingham, Kebbi, creating emotional scenes at the government house. Parents broke down in tears as Governor Nasir Idris formally handed over the students who were rescued through coordinated security operations. The governor assured that medical assessment confirmed the girls were unharmed. Governor Idris commended the swift support of President Bola Tinubu and security forces, describing the rescue as a victory for resilience and collective efforts. He appealed to communities to resist fear and encourage children to return to school, affirming that government is enhancing security around learning environments. Elsewhere, the APC National Chairman, Professor Nentawe Yilwa-Tada, visited Niger State to comfort families affected by another school abduction, pledging continued engagement with federal security agencies. The coalition of northern groups also raised concerns about a surge in coordinated attacks, warning that the closure of 47 unity schools underscores the gravity of the situation. Former Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Idris Wase, has raised alarm over alleged infiltration of security recruitment lists by suspected Boko Haram elements and criminal operatives. He disclosed during a special plenary on national security that questionable names previously appeared on shortlists for the army and police. Mr. Wase warned that careless endorsements during recruitment could compromise the country's fight against extremism. Other lawmakers representing northern regions echoed similar concerns. Sada Soli, speaking for the Northwest, noted that insecurity in the zone is fueled by environmental stress and governance failures that armed groups exploit. He called for a combination of military action and institutional reforms to disrupt the underlying drivers of violence. Northeast Representative Mukhtar Betara described the region as epicenter of terrorism, urging sustained military presence. Meanwhile, South Senator Solomon Bob criticized past administrations for adopting negotiation taxes instead of enforcing the law, while Kafilat Obara highlighted the disproportionate impact of insecurity on women and children. An Anglican priest, Venerable Edwin Archie, abducted with his wife in Chiku local government area of Kaduna State, has reportedly died in captivity. The priest who served at Ebenezer Anglican Church, Ungwan Majero, was kidnapped on October 28 alongside his wife, with the abductors demanding 600 million naira ransom. Proof of life images earlier circulated by the kidnappers showed several malnourished captives. Security sources confirmed the death of two reporters, heightening concerns about the worsening insecurity in southern Kaduna. The region has experienced repeated violent incidents, including a recent attack on the divisional police headquarters in Zonkwa, where two officers were killed by bandits. Local communities continue to urge government authorities to intensify operations in the area, lamenting the increasing frequency of attacks in religious leaders, farmers, and security personnel. Church leaders have also renewed calls for stronger protection of rural congregations. A National Union of Road Transport Workers leader in Osun State, Adeboye Ademoroti, popularly known as Germany, has been shot dead by unknown gunmen in Ilesha. The attack, which occurred late Tuesday, also left another victim with gunshot wounds. Police confirmed that expanded cartridges were recovered from the scene and investigations have been commenced. Governor Ademola Adeleke condemned the incident as part of the stubborn rise in political violence across Ijesha land. He directed the Commissioner of Police to immediately clamp down on groups responsible for orchestrating killings and destabilizing communities. Residents expressed fear that the killing may trigger reprisal attacks if law enforcement efforts are not swift. Civil society groups are calling for increased night patrol and early prosecution of suspects to restore confidence in public safety. Abia State Governor Alex Oti has ordered the immediate unsealing of the renewed Hope Partner office belonging to the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, pending regularization of the property's documentation. The reversal followed an appeal from the Deputy Speaker after the building was sealed by the State Harmonized Task Force. Government spokesperson Ukohan Joku Koha clarified that the sealing was part of a statewide enforcement of court orders targeting properties in violation of statutory obligations. He stated that the decision was not political motivated, noting that similar actions were taken against properties linked to the family of former Governor Sam Bakwe and a government agency. The central issue, according to the state government, involves unpaid ground rent dating back to 1982, with the lease expiring in December 2025. Officials confirmed that several reminders were issued before the court authorized enforcement. President Bola Tinubu has submitted the names of 3 non-career ambassadorial nominees to the Senate for confirmation. The request was read by Senate President Godswill Akpabio during plenary on Wednesday, marking another step in the reconstitution of Nigeria's diplomatic corps. The development comes nearly 2 years after President Tinubu recalled all ambassadors in September 2023 for a comprehensive foreign service review. The nomination of non-career appointees signals the administration's intention to balance diplomatic expertise with political representation. The Senate is expected to refer the nominees to its Committee on Foreign Affairs for screening. The final confirmation will enable Nigeria to fill existing gaps in key foreign missions and strengthen diplomatic engagements with partner nations. In Enugu, the Civil Defense Officers' Wives Association has launched a fresh push to support families of security personnel, empowering 50 women with new revenue-generating skills in a bid to strengthen household income and improve overall family welfare. Aneke TV News correspondent tells us more. The Civil Defense Officers' Wives Association Sidowa Enugu State Command has empowered 50 women with revenue-generating skills aimed at strengthening household income and improving family welfare. At the presentation of Starter Park, Sidowa chairperson Dr. Josephine Willie said the initiative would have far-reaching impact on families, on serving personnel, and the wider community. She noted that in its first year, the association had conducted medical outreaches, implemented back-to-school programs, and offered financial support to widows and widowers of the command.
Sidowa, peace at home and peace in the nation. Peace at home and peace in the nation. Sidowa exists to support the betterment of women in our society and by extension, the well-being of our families. We stand alongside our husbands who daily dedicate themselves to upholding the sovereignty, peace, and law and order of our nation. Since our inauguration 1 year ago, we have executed several impactful community projects, including medical outreaches and back-to-school programs, and in all collaboration with other organizations. Even with the Ministry of Gender in Enugu here, we partnered with the Ministry of Humanitarian Service and every other organization around. They've been of help to us, and we acknowledge them this morning. Since our inauguration 1 year ago, we have executed several impactful programs, and we have mentioned some of them: medical outreaches, reaching out to children, reaching out to the widows, widows and widowers, and that's what we've done as an organization. Today, our team is empowering a woman. Empowering a woman is empowering a nation.
Dr. Willie stressed that women's empowerment drives economic stability, enhances inclusion, and uplifts living standards. She thanked the national president of Sidowa, Hajia Aisha Udi, and the NSCDC Enugu Command for their support. In a remark, the Enugu State NSCDC Commandant Dr. Elijah Willie commended the association progress, noting that empowered women contributes to positive transformation from the family level to the broader society. He reaffirmed the command's commitment to supporting Sidowa initiatives. Representatives of Nafoa, Poa, and Naowa were also present.
Representative of Naowa, ably represented, welcome. The representative of Nafoa, she has always been here. She's not new to many faces here. Anytime you don't see her here, she has traveled to Abuja. But I don't know how we've not caught her in Abuja. And the representative of POWA. These are great bodies that we are trying to copy. We are trying to mentor after. I want to stress how delighted we are to receiving you.
A health awareness session delivered by Dr. Chinwe Wankwo of ASU Teaching Hospital urged women to prioritize rest, exercise, balanced nutrition, and regular medical checkups, including cervical cancer screening and blood pressure monitoring.
If you check in most households, women are the last people to go to bed, and they are the first to get up in the morning. Don't maybe the same rest like the other people. They do, because we have the same bodies, we have the same biological functions, and we even need the rest more because we do most of the work. So most times we care for our families, we build our communities, we support everyone around us, often forgetting our health. And our health is the foundation that allows us to do all these activities. We need to prioritize our regular checkups. We need to listen to our bodies. We need to seek medical care. We need to check our blood sugars, our blood pressures. We need to take regular rest and remember to take care of ourselves. We need to get screened and we need to maintain a good and balanced lifestyle. Remember that knowledge is power, and understanding our bodies empowers us to make better decisions. When a woman is healthy, her family and community is healthy. Remember what
A beneficiary, Mrs. S.N. Henshaw, praised Sidoa for the training and starter pack, saying it would help her build a sustainable enterprise to support her family.
We were looking at it very far away, but today we are here. It's a success. I really give God the glory for giving me this great opportunity to be a part of this program today. Indeed, I have learned so much. I am happy. I don't at all regret my coming.
Hello, peace in the nation.
I never thought I would be a part, but here I am. So to God be all the glory. I'm taking this message back all the way to Cross River State. I know it will make more meaning. I never in my wildest imagination thought I would be part of those that will benefit by His grace. He did it.
The training covered perfume and air freshener production, confectionery, bead making, modern farming methods, and agro-allied processing. The event also featured practical demonstrations and an end-of-year get-together for members. I am Deborah Wakuba, Aneke TV News. Broadcast is coming to you live from Aneke TV. Remember, you can follow us on our social media feeds across Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, and YouTube, all at Aneke TV. Now, a quick recap of the major stories making the news. President Tinubu declares nationwide security emergency. FG cautions state against citing boarding schools in insecure area. Relief has rescued KB schoolgirls to reunite with families. Kidnapped cleric reportedly killed in bandits' custody. And coming up shortly, National Guardsmen shot near the White House. France detains 4 over alleged espionage for foreign power. Hong Kong blaze recorded as deadliest since 1962. Serbia moves to seize Russian-owned NIS refinery amid U.S. sanctions. U.S. President bars South Africa's 2026 visit following diplomatic row. We'll be right back.
The Insight with Uche Osai.
Having the political will to confront whatever is the challenges.
Igbo man wrestles with
the tortoise that had a lot of ingenuity, a lot of ideas, and the tireless.
It will take the bold mind of government in power to say, let there be electoral reform, no matter who sorts is God.
I was there. We did everything. All of us came and supported him with our last blood.
In-depth analysis, expert views, real voices. Uncover the stories shaping Nigeria today. Deep dive, honest, unfiltered, only on The Insight with Uche Osai on Aneke TV. Join us.
Still on the news. 2 West Virginia National Guardsmen deployed in Washington, D.C. were shot near the Farragut West Metro Station during an anti-crime operation ordered by President Donald Trump. Initial reports suggested the soldiers were fatally wounded, but state authorities later said their conditions remained uncertain. The troops had exchanged gunfire with a suspect who was subsequently apprehended while injured. The incident comes amid legal controversy following a federal court ruling that declared the deployment of over 2,000 National Guardsmen to the capital unlawful. The court, however, delayed ordering their withdrawal pending an appeal. Law enforcement officials say the motive behind Wednesday's shooting remains under investigation. President Trump condemned the attack on its Truth social platform, while Vice President J.D. Vance called for prayers for the wounded troops, describing them as defenders of national security. Authorities have secured the area, confirming no additional suspects or victims have been identified. French security officials have arrested 4 individuals, including 2 Russian nationals, on suspicion of spying for a foreign power. One of the key suspects, a dual French-Russian citizen identified as Anna N., had been under surveillance since January for allegedly gathering sensitive economic information from French corporate executives. Authorities say Anna N. also founded SOS Donbass, an association advocating stronger ties between Russia and Europe, raising concerns about her network and influence. The other arrested individuals include French nationals Vincent P. and Bernard F. and Russian national Vincheslav P., all facing charges ranging from espionage to involvement in organized crime. Investigators have not publicly identified the foreign power involved, but prosecutors warn the suspects could face up to 45 years in prison if convicted. The arrest marks one of France's most significant counter-espionage breakthroughs in recent years. A catastrophic fire at the Wang Fung Court housing complex in Tai Po, Hong Kong has claimed at least 44 lives, making it the city's deadliest blaze since 1962. More than 270 residents remain unaccounted for, mostly from upper floors of the 32-story towers, while firefighters struggle to gain access due to intense heat and smoke. Police have arrested 3 men, including 2 company directors and an engineering consultant, for suspected manslaughter linked to gross negligence. Investigators said green construction mesh and bamboo scaffolding used during renovation contributed to rapid fire spread. A 37-year-old firefighter, Ho Wai Ho, died in the rescue operation. Authorities say the immediate focus remains on search and rescue, caring for survivors, and conducting a full investigation into construction safety practices. Military officers in Guinea-Bissau have announced they have taken total control of the country following unrest that erupted shortly after the general elections. Borders have been closed and the electoral process suspended as heavy gunfire was reported around the presidential palace. Soldiers later occupied major roads leading to the seat of government. President Umaru Sissoco Embalo was reportedly inside the building near military headquarters, accompanied by the Chief of Staff and Interior Minister. However, it remains unclear whether he is under arrest or receiving protection. The military leadership has yet to clarify its intention regarding the transition plan. General Dennis N. Kanha, head of the Presidential Military Office, declared that a unified military command will oversee the country until further notice. The developments raised fresh concerns about political stability in the coup-prone West African nation. Serbia is preparing an amendment to its draft budget law to enable the state to assume ownership of NIS, its Russian-owned oil refiner, as the U.S. sanctions threaten to shut down operations. Parliament Speaker Anna Babic said the ruling party will present the amendment to ensure that government can intervene to protect national fuel supplies. NIS majority owned by Gazprom Neft and Gazprom has been under U.S. Treasury sanctions since October, disrupting crude oil shipments. While Russia's shareholders have agreed in principle to divest, the process has stalled amid geopolitical tensions. President Donald Trump has announced that South Africa will not receive an invitation to the 2026 G20 summit in Miami following a diplomatic dispute over the handover of the G20 presidency. Trump accused South Africa of refusing to transfer leadership to a U.S. representative at the close of this year's summit. The Nigerian police force has come under scrutiny following the release of the Auditor General's 2022 report, which identified irregularities totaling over 2.6 billion naira. The report cited abandoned contracts, payment for unexecuted projects, and disbursements made with legislative approval at various departments within headquarters. Falcon Corporation Limited has secured a significant investment from Energy and LLP, a subsidiary of Evercorp Industries, aimed at expanding Nigeria's gas infrastructure and distribution networks. The investment followed the acquisition of equity previously held by PKM and S Consult Limited, signaling investors' confidence in Nigeria's gas markets. The Nigerian Table Tennis Federation has protested to the International Table Tennis Federation after Nigerian youth players were denied visas for the World Youth Championship in Romania. Nigeria had qualified to represent Africa in both the under-19 and under-15 boys categories. Nollywood actress Destiny Tiko is celebrating her adopted baby's 6-month milestone, sharing photographs of the infant, known on social media as @Destiny Kid Official. The child gained attention for her resemblance to the popular actress, sparking early speculation, which Etiko has repeatedly clarified. And finally, before we go, here's a recap of our top stories. President Bola Tinubu has declared nationwide security emergency. FG cautions state against citing boarding schools in insecure areas. U.S. President has blocked South Africa's 2026 invite after diplomatic spat. And that's Aneke TV News at 9 a.m. For more news and live updates, follow us across all social media platforms: Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all at Aneke TV. On behalf of the producer, Chidima Sogwa, and the entire news team, I'm Deborah Wakaba. Thank you for watching.
From the tiniest cells to the farthest galaxies, life holds secrets we are only beginning to uncover. Why are we here? What connects us all? What unseen forces shape our destiny? Join Professor Jude Udenta as he explores the wonders, the questions, and the revelations that define existence. Mysteries of life, where every answer sparks a new discovery. Watch now on Aneke TV every Monday.
As Anambra State heads to the polls today to elect a new governor, expectations are high for a peaceful, transparent and credible election. Stakeholders from the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to security agencies, political actors and the electorate have all expressed commitment to ensuring that the process reflects the will of the people. For the Independent National Electoral Commission, the focus is on punctuality, transparency and credibility through technology. INEC has assured that all sensitive and non-sensitive materials have been distributed across the 21 local government areas, with officials fully deployed to ensure the smooth functioning of the bimodal voter accreditation system and electronic transmission of results. The resident electoral commissioner in the state, Dr. Queen Ogwehi, has reiterated that the commission will not tolerate any compromise, adding that the collation and announcement of results will strictly follow laid-down procedures. On the part of security agencies, the Nigeria Police Force is leading a joint security operation involving the military, civil defense, and the Department of State Services. Over 25,000 personnel have been deployed across the state to maintain law and order. while vehicular movement has been restricted to prevent disruptions. The Commissioner of Police, Aderemi Adeoye, has appealed to residents to remain calm and law-abiding, warning that any attempt to incite violence or interfere with the electoral process will be met with firm resistance. Political parties have also urged their members and supporters to shun violence, avoid vote buying, and allow the people's choice to prevail. Similarly, civil society groups and election observers, including representatives from the European Union and domestic monitoring bodies, have encouraged eligible voters to come out in large numbers and exercise their civic responsibility without fear or intimidation. For the electorate, today's election offers an opportunity to strengthen democratic values and determine the direction of governance in Anambra for the next 4 years. Many voters say they are eager to see a peaceful process that truly reflects the people's mandate. As voting begins, all eyes are on Anambra's seat, with hopes high that the conduct of the election will stand as a model of credibility and peace for the nation's democratic.
From the tiniest cells to the farthest galaxies, life holds secrets we are only beginning to uncover. Why are we here? What connects us all? What unseen forces shape our destiny? Join Professor Jude Udenta as he explores the wonders, the questions, and the revelations that define existence. Mysteries of life, where every answer sparks a new discovery. Watch now on Aneke TV every Monday.
The Insight with Uche Osai.
Having the political will to confront whatever is the challenges.
Igbo man wrestles with
the tortoise that had a lot of ingenuity, a lot of ideas, and the tireless.
It will take the bold mind of government in power to say, let there be electoral reform, no matter who sorts is God.
I was there. We did everything. All of us came and supported him with our last blood.
In-depth analysis, expert views, real voices, uncover the stories shaping Nigeria today. Deep dive, honest, unfiltered, only on The Insight with Uche Osai on Aneke TV. Join us.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, 042, and a beautiful morning to everyone watching. You're tuned into Sunrise on Aneke TV, where every sunrise begins with joy and purpose. And bringing you daily cheerfulness and joy, I'm Deborah Wakaba, coming to you live from our studio here in Vibrant in Nugu.
And good morning to you, our global audience. I'm Uche Osai. Wherever you are, at home, in your office, or in traffic, or even making breakfast, thank you for letting us into your space this beautiful morning. We're here to refresh, inform, and motivate.
Yes, and it's Thursday, 27th of November, 2025. And of course, we've got that special edition of Sunrise and also that weather report, trending stories, and that special Sunrise vibe to help us on our day.
Relax, grab that a cup of coffee or tea. Enjoy the cruise because the sunrise is here.
And coming up shortly today, we'll be kicking things off with our quote of the day with words that are thoughtful, words that are inspiring, and words that help us stay well-driven or stay focused.
Then, it's straight into the day's top headlines of our newspapers. All the key updates you need to remain informed will be served hot and tasty.
Yes, and after that, we'll be giving you the full weather forecast for today, covering cities across the southeast and beyond to know what to expect before you head out.
And later we'll wrap things up with global updates, celebration and observance to lift your spirit and keep you smiling.
Yes, all right, now let's move to our morning show inspiration segment. Now, our morning show inspiration segment today is coming from an Igbo proverb where it says, water may cover the footprint on the ground, but it does not cover the words of the mouth. I'm going to take that proverb again. That says, water may cover the footprint on the ground, but it does not cover the words of the mouth. And now in simple terms, what it's saying is that action may fade, but words can last. So this quote is trying to tell us to be careful with words that we say, because they said what comes out of your mouth cannot be taken back. Now, what you tell somebody remains stagnant in that person's mind. It remains stagnant in that person's lifestyle. Just like when you're abusing a child or where you're talking bad against somebody, now the person used that word to always remember you. Now you're saying that word, those words, and now it's reducing the person's self-esteem. Now this quote, proverb that says, water may cover the footprint on the ground, but it does not cover the words of the mouth, is an Igbo proverb that also reminds us that while water can wash away footprints, the things we say, our words, our promises, our insults, our encouragements cannot be erased so easily. So it remains part of the person or whoever you're telling it to, whether you're promising the person anything. Now the person takes it in his heart, hoping and praying you fulfill your promise. Now when you're encouraging somebody, the person takes it and as a motivation to move forward. And also when you insult somebody or you abuse somebody, now the person takes it in, and now this kills the person's self-esteem. Now words are powerful. Just like water washes away footprints, water can wash away anything. But what we say remains, it stays, it doesn't fade. Be it 2 years to come, be it 3 years to come. You on the other part might forget it, but whoever you told about it still remembers it. I would like to know your thoughts on this, Mr. Uche.
I always start by, praising our forebearers, the Igbos. They always have the words of wisdom.
Yeah.
Whenever you travel on any issue, you encounter words of wisdom from our elders, which Chino Achebe, in his writing, says the palm oil with which we eat words. You understand? So this morning, they're simply telling us to be mindful of our words. What you say, your word represents you more than your action.
Yeah.
That's what you're remembered for. So when you talk to people, remember that what you're doing is that you're communicating yourself in history. That your actions may be forgotten. Just like in this quote, he's saying that water may cover the footprints on the ground, but it does not cover the words of the mouth.
Yeah.
So you, like your footprints, over time, what you're doing with your word is that you're imprinting yourself in history, and that's what you'll be remembered for. Remember, each time in academics or everywhere, when we want to cite people, we'll cite their words. We'll always remember words according to so and so person, say according to Karl Marx, according to Pope John Paul II, according to former Senate President Chuba Okadibo, according to former governor of Anambra State, according to former Deputy Governor of Enugu State. So you always cite the words of people.
Yeah.
Your actions may be forgotten, but the words you leave behind won't be forgotten, and those are the frame upon which you'll be remembered.
Yeah.
Yes. So when you speak, when you talk to people, be very mindful of what you say, because when you leave that imprint, you may forget what you've said, but the listeners, the hearers, and the person you've spoken to
will not forget.
It will be imprinted in their mind and in their memory. And human being, at the right time, they will recall.
Yes.
They will remember. Yes, just like when we are told by Usman Danfodio that the conscience is an open wound, only truth can heal. So when you speak from your conscience. Speak sincerity in humility. How do you want people to perceive you? what part of you do you want to leave behind? So when you put that imprint in people, like Usman Dafodio is telling us, that conscience is an open wound, only truth can heal it. So when you speak words of wisdom, when you speak kindly to people, when you transmit your being into others, remember that it will be remembered. And when you try to be on the path of truth, because when, for example, you are on the negativity and you lie against someone, you frame someone badly, or you try to demoralize someone with your words, in due time they will remember your words. They may not remember your actions, but the things that you say, more than anything, would represent you. Those of us who are in the market, for example, and you're in the habit of telling your customer that this thing, I bought this thing for 15 naira. If anywhere you go, this is 15 naira, I'm just selling it with a little, profit.
Because I like
and
it.
Then these are your words, and your customer will hold you by your word. Tomorrow, if he gets another place and sees that, this thing that you said you bought at 15 naira, somebody is selling it to him at 45 naira, for example, he would remember you as that very customer who lies. Before he would ever come back to you, he'll go back to ask around in the market,
yes, that's
get
true.
the price before coming to you, if he would ever return. So our words are powerful. They have a way, the potency to either lift people up or make mad people. So we should be conscious in how we speak to people, especially subordinates, especially younger ones. Remember, I will keep telling you that the children, especially, how we talk to them matters. You should be conscious of what you say, where they are, and to them. Because I tell you about this Chinese proverb that says that every child is like that piece of paper which every passerby will drop a mark on. And children have this retentive memory that they keep remembering. If I begin to narrate to you things that happened, I was having conversation with my mom, and then I took her back to something that happened. They didn't even take cognizance of the fact that I was around. Do you understand? But they've forgotten. But I placed it on record for her. Look at how the trajectory of what happened. Look at how it happened. Look at the people that were there. And she was shocked. How come? Were you there? I said yes. And I narrated where everybody was seated, where I was. They didn't take cognizance of that fact, but I remembered. This is something that happened when I was way, way little, a little kid. Very insignificant presence. But they didn't take note of that. But I am the bearer of the history of what transpired. And it matters what you say to especially children. Your words can encourage your children to be brighter in life. Your words can mar them, make them to see themselves as misfits, as not equal, as not being able to be competitive with their peers. So the earlier we begin to shape our words, know that words matter. What you say, what you utter will remain behind. It will live longer than you. When we are all gone, the things that we say will more than anything be remembered by most action that we took. That's why, if in closing, I will always let us remember that you will remember what your father said. That's why you hear people, they will say, my father used to say this. My father used to say that. Right? Because words are imprinted in history. So when we are framing it, we should be conscious of what we say, what we utter. Eat your words. Think through it before you utter it. Because that could be a ticking bomb that will destroy not just an individual, it could destroy more than one person. And it will continue to portray how you will be viewed in here and the hereafter.
All right, thank you very much for that. Well, this proverb that says, water may cover the footprint on the ground, but it does not cover the words of the mouth. Now, this proverb is also saying that once words are spoken, they travel, they settle, and also they can either heal or harm somebody, even if the moment we've forgotten that we ever said something like that. Now, this quote is trying to remind us that whatever you're saying, you should be wise in what you're saying. Whatever that is coming from your mouth, like he said, you eat your word, you think about what you're about to say. If this thing is going to encourage this person, if this thing is going to bring down this person, be careful, be slow to speak, and then think about the words that come out from your mouth before they come out. You don't have to say things every time. Now, it's good to be wise. It's good to think about words, process them first, and know the person you're telling. It might be somebody who has a very bad mentality that you're joking about it, and you tell the person, now the person takes it the wrong way. So this proverb word today is reminding us that we should be wise with our words, that whatever you're saying, let's try to know if it's going to destroy this person, if it's something that is going to encourage somebody, if it's going to shape the person for a better future, and also if it's something that is not going to put you in problem. Because there are some times where you say something, now you just say it without reasoning it, without thinking about it. At the end of the day, that word comes back to haunt you. It comes back and you find out that you've entered trouble because of what you said. Yes, and probably when you said it, you forgot it immediately. Now the person carries it, and you don't know. People are mysterious these days. That we might be having a discussion, someone is recording you, so that in case, okay, the person is probably recording you, so that anything that happens, he's innocent. But on the other hand, now you're not innocent because you've said a lot of things, and now you're not careful with the kind of words you speak. You're not careful. Even funny enough, your friends can betray you, but then be careful wherever you are.
But that makes us that when we're speaking, that's why I cited Uthman Dan Fodio.
Yeah.
Right. We'll try to be on the path of truth, and when you're on the path of truth, you don't really care if somebody records your words.
Yes.
Because go to Medugri, come back to Bayelsa, your words, if it's true, will stand tall.
Yes, that's true.
Right?
Yes.
So, yes, but the point you're trying to make is very apt, that people, yes, may record your conversation and all that, and your words may come back to hurt you. But that's why we are reminded this morning to be cautious of what we say, our words, because our words have the potency. That potency, like you're trying to bring out, has the capacity to either harm the other person or turn back to you and harm you equally, which is why we need to be very cautious of what we say, what we speak to people. It really, really at times may bounce back as well.
That's true. Thank you very much for that. Well, so in essence, today's proverb is trying to tell us that action may fade, but words last. So as you go about your day to day, please let's try to speak the truth. Let's try to speak kindness. Let's be careful of the things we say and speak life to people around you, not just speak words or say things that is going to disturb them, not say things that is going to destroy or scatter them altogether. Instead, speak positivity. If you don't know what to speak or you don't know what to say, keep quiet. It will not kill. There's this saying that says, what is this saying? Silence is the best answer. Silence is the best answer for a fool. Yes. Now, in an environment, you might find yourself. Now, everybody is talking. You don't have to say anything. You can be an observer. I know we said someone that doesn't speak out for something that is wrong, and whether you should try speaking up for things that are right. But then, why speaking up? Be careful on the choice of words you speak. So many people are in trouble today because of the things they say, the way they don't control their mouths. Now you just say anything, you just say anyhow. But instead, this proverb is advising us today that we should speak the right words, we should stand for truth, we should speak truth. In that way, you're confident, you are sure of what you're saying, and not tomorrow you don't remember what you said because it's all a lie. And that is what this Hebrew proverb is trying to tell us today. Do you have anything to say?
There's nothing else to add to this, but that we should be very cautious of our words. If I may conclude by saying, it has the capacity to injure the hearer and even the speaker. It can bounce back to you as well. So be cautious. It may not just be harmful to the one you're speaking to. It may bounce back to hurt you, like you pointed out. But the point here is that be mindful of what you're saying. When you open your mouth to speak life, like you said. Be sincere. When you are sincere, you don't have to be afraid of your words coming back. Be kind with your word. Be steadfast with your word. And in all, communicate humility. Let your words represent you anytime, anywhere. But most importantly, speak the truth.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Actually, please try speaking the truth, and also please do not forget that each new sunrise is a platform, is an invitation for us to grow, to try something new, and to try something different, or simply be present in whatever we do. Let us know what this proverb today or this quote today means to you. You can drop your text on our social media handles across Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X, YouTube, all at Aneke TV, or you can call our phone number 07030437110. We'll be right back after the break.
The Insight with Uche Osai.
Having the political will to confront whatever is the challenges.
Igbo man wrestles with
the tortoise that had a lot of ingenuity, a lot of ideas, and the tireless.
It will take the bold mind of government in power to say, let there be electoral reform, no matter whose heart is God.
I was there. We did everything. All of us came and supported him with our last blood.
In-depth analysis, expert views, real voices, uncover the stories shaping Nigeria today. Deep dive, honest, unfiltered, only on The Insight with Uche Osai on Aneke TV. Join us. You're still watching Sunrise on Aneke TV. Next, we'll take a look at the weather reports across major cities in the southeast today.
Yes, we'll be starting off with Awka. Good morning, Awka. The wake-up call in Awka is cloudy and about 21 degrees Celsius. Expect showers this early morning, then clouds giving way to sunshine around midday and afternoon. Temperatures climbing to a high of about 31 degrees Celsius. A warm afternoon ahead if the sun stays out. Evening cools down to about 25 to 26 degrees Celsius.
Good morning, Enugu, the cold city. Starting out cloudy at 23 degrees Celsius. As the day goes on, hazy sunshine from mid-morning, getting hot and toasty up to 35 degrees Celsius. By early afternoon, temperatures easing down to around 27 to 29 degrees Celsius in the evening.
And in Abakaliki this morning, mostly cloudy and at 24 to 25 degrees Celsius. Gradual shift to hazy sunshine a bit later. Expect warm midday temps around 33 to 34 degrees Celsius. Evening will bring some cloud cover with temperatures dipping to 26 to 28 degrees Celsius.
Good morning, Imo State, and over to Owerri. Nice and coolish at 22 degrees Celsius now. With mostly cloudy skies, early morning may bring a bit of thunder or storms. Then the skies clear by late morning into a sunny, warm midday around 31 to 32 degrees Celsius. Through afternoon, expect some cloud sun mix with a mild evening around 25 to 26 degrees Celsius.
And starting off in Umahia, it starts off mostly cloudy at 22 degrees Celsius. Early hours may bring showers, then shift into sunshine plus clouds throughout the day. Peak of the day hot up to about 32 to 33 degrees Celsius. And the evening could bring more rain around 6 p.m. then setting into cloudy or partly cloudy skies with temperatures around 25 to 27 degrees Celsius.
So, wherever you are in Southeast today, stay safe, stay cool, dress light, but remember that rain or shine, we've got you covered. And this is your weather report on Sunrise on Aneke TV. We'll go on a short break and we'll be right with more updates. The Insight with Uche Osai.
Having the political will to confront whatever is the challenges.
Igbo man wrestles with
the tortoise that had a lot of ingenuity, a lot of ideas, and the tireless.
It will take the bold mind of government in power to say, let there be electoral reform, no matter whose heart is God.
I was there. We did everything. All of us came and supported him with our last blood.
In-depth analysis, expert views, real voices, uncover the stories shaping Nigeria today. Deep dive, honest, unfiltered, only on The Insight with Uche Osai on Aneke TV. Join us.
You're still watching Sunrise on Aneke TV. Now we'll be taking a look at major stories today from our major newspapers, starting from Nation, Punch, Vanguard, and The Guardian newspaper. Now, on today's paper, Nation headline, it says emergency on security, Tinubu OK State Police. And on the Punch headlines, Tinubu declares emergency as NASS rejects bandits negotiations. And on the Vanguard headline says insecurity, Tinubu declares emergency. And on the Guardian headline, Tinubu declares emergency on insecurity, backs governors on state police. And still on the Guardian headline says lawmakers declare security collapse, 6 dealt penalty for kidnapping. And on the news today says Jonathan trapped in Guinea-Bissau as ECOWAS AU condemned coup. And our paper starting from the Punch headline that says Tinubu declares emergency as NASS rejects bandits negotiation. The big headline is on the President's Security Emergency Declaration, which comes as the National Assembly rejects calls for negotiations with bandits. Lawmakers insist that dialogue is no longer an option, pushing instead for stronger military and state-led action. The debate is heating up nationwide, with citizens divided on what the next steps should be.
All right. Looking at this headline, we've been all on about insecurity in Nigeria for a while now, and then this time seeing this headline now, gladdens my heart and makes me feel that yes, the presidency is listening. That we'll have, after all, a listening president, coming out this time to boldly declare state of emergency on insecurity all over the country. It gladdens my heart. Yes, for the first time, I feel that the press in Nigeria, that the generality of Nigerians are being heard. And that is quite commendable for the president to come out this morning, in the headline to declare a state of emergency, and to hear the National Assembly equally taking a cue, debating and talking about it, is quite commendable. That, yes, given the myriad of security challenges that we face in this period of time, that the president, have listened. Remember, we're talking about what's been transpiring in KB, where school children were kidnapped. We are talking about how many school children? You're talking about 25 school children. Children who left their family to go acquire knowledge, being subjects of heinous crime by these bandits, these terrorists, is quite disheartening. And when you travel through KB, go to Niger State, the same story of insecurity everywhere. We talk about attack in a Catholic school, where a number of persons were equally kidnapped. Look at the killing equally in Kwara. We're talking about Yeruku, where worshippers were killed and a good number of them kidnapped, though some have been returned, right? But travel through Nigeria, yesterday we were talking about numbering about 20 they kidnapped between Kano to Kogi State, for example. You have a number of persons, and this is not bringing it in total view. What I'm trying to make here is that when you traverse the length and breadth of this nation, everywhere reeks of insecurity. The challenge now is that the bandits, as if they're beginning to, have a field day against our armed forces. When the attention of the world is on Nigeria concerning insecurity, a lot of persons begin to argue that the designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern by the United States and the ongoing debate on the issue has somehow emboldened the bandits to begin to launch onslaught against soft targets, especially our young school children. And when we interrogate this issue, we begin to feel that perhaps they are afraid that the United States government, as declared by President Trump, is going to put boots on ground, and they want to use these children as a shield against any onslaught. Be that as it may, we've seen that line of reasoning is not far-fetched by the fact that even our armed forces cannot, engage directly to the enclaves of these terrorists because they are afraid that these children may be used as shield. I mean, the kidnapped victims may be used as shield when they try to confront these bandits frontally, through kinetic approach. And it becomes more worrisome when this is not just happening in one state. Let's say the government will try to engage in perhaps in Kwara, and then next minute you begin to hear about other actions in KB. And it's quite, very encouraging that the president has mandated the military to condone up this forest that is said to be very vast and deep, with settlements all across, that it becomes very difficult to police, and giving the terrorists, the opportunity to strike from one community to the other, due to the vastness of the forest. The communities are well scattered, that policing becomes a very serious issue, and then that's why we begin to hear kidnapping here and there, and it's easy for them to retreat into the forest when the security forces come against them. So, but hearing the most by this president this morning is quite encouraging, that he has ordered a joint, military task force and onslaught against the insurgents by, first of all, condoning this vast forest, making it difficult for these bandits to be able to move freely, to come out and attack the villages. And with that, he has ordered 24 hours area surveillance in these very troubled spots. And this is quite commendable. But hearing this morning the orders emanating from President equally as to the police and the army to be on a high alert, even to recruit more personnel into their fold in order to combat and confront these challenges, speaks well that, yes, like when I started, that will not have a president that listens. And beyond this, he has equally ordered the DSS to activate the forest guard architecture, to oversee that, yes, they are reactivated, that the criminals do not have a field day traversing through our deep forests all over the Federation. And with that in place, I can tell you that security situation, the challenges will begin to be checked properly, where the insurgents will not be able to move from one state, one community to the other, because we are told these individuals, they do not use the normal route. They only come to the public domain, strike, and retreat deep into the forest. So with the forest guard being brought into place, we will begin to see that their movement will be checkmated. And against that, the president has equally gone further, instructing both the armed forces and the police to begin to recruit more men into their fold, that they should equally increase the capacity in terms of numbers to be able to confront the bandits, the terrorists, these insurgents, wherever they are. And that is quite commendable. We keep speaking to the fact that I will feel that there should be more, recruitment of men into the force, to show up their capacity to carry an onslaught against these people. And we've argued that we expected that should be the first action of Mr. President as part of his campaign speeches during the electioneering period, when he was campaigning for this coveted seat, and that we expected that once he gets into that seat, that he would implement that action immediately. And now it seems that he's listening, because you remember when he made that popular statement that you recruit more men, more people into the army, what would they eat? Corn, abado, right? Cassava, yam. And now we are beginning to see that, because we expected that, yes, he will recruit massively. Speaking for a country that is talking about underemployment, and will have the vast majority of our population as youths who are unemployed, and I will know that a number of them will be happy to enlist in the armed forces and the police. So now that the directive have come from the president, the military, the police should see that this recruitment is not just the usual recruitment that we have, where it's about who knows who is your father, what is your surname, what's your contact. No, this time, as against the challenges that we are confronting, insecurity, kidnapping, traversing across the length and breadth of this nation. I keep telling you that when you travel through the regions, there is one security crisis there and then. When you come to the southeast, for example, there are instances, the cases of kidnapping. Yes, so with this recruitment, now we'll have a good number of men to begin to place the environment. It's quite gladdens my heart that the president has instructed that the the police assigned to VIPs be withdrawn, and we saw the number rising up to 100. With that, he has ordered the retraining of these officers, that they should be retrained and debriefed. But you understand, then be properly deployed into battlefronts where they will confront these challenges. And these are steps in the right direction from Mr. President. And you can see I'm excited this morning, seeing that, yes, there are actionable plans that will be implemented to see that this level of insecurity that we are witnessing will be brought to a barest minimum. there's no part of the world where you see that there are no security challenges. Even the America that is coming to help us fight insurgency and security challenges, they have their own security threats. They have their own security challenges at home. So, but what we are saying that is that this issue be brought to the barest minimum. And I feel that with the approach that the Mr. President has outlined, we would very soon begin to see results in this part. But I call on the police, I call on the armed forces to see that these recruitments are transparent. They are carried out transparently, bring in equitable men, who would take pride in serving the nation, not based on connection. And that reminds me, when you go back to read the book from Frederick Forsyth, Aneke, in that book you remember that Odimegwu in that era, being a graduate, they forced to enlist in the Nigerian army. When the profession was seen to be that of people who never do well in society, and a graduate coming to enlist in the army, you would see from that book that enlistment in the army at that time was very transparent, open for everybody. You don't need to have a surname or come from a well-to-do background for you to be admitted. You don't need a note from a senator or from your governor for you to be enlisted in the army. When I read that book and then began to relate it to what is happening now, against that background is why I advance in the army that we should go back to the root of the way we really do our recruitment from the past, where things are transparent, right? Because, when you listen to a number of young men, especially from some parts of the nation, it's difficult for them to get enlisted into the army. Apart from those of us who have certain talents that is required by the security forces that will be approached, you understand? Most of them who on their own have interest may not get there based on the region where they come from. But we'll tell them this morning that it should be transparent, that when you have people from across the region, it becomes, the cohesion makes it easier to begin to fight any security challenge that will arise. So this morning, I am in cohort with those who are commending the action of Mr. President, and I feel that this action will yield significant result in no time if carried out properly. And to this, I am so excited for Mr. President, and as much as his action plans are implemented, are put in place and implemented wholeheartedly without reservation. With this, you begin to see that the porous borders that we talk about will be well checked. And I am so happy that the insurgents in this regard will be confronted heads on, especially with the National Assembly equally beginning to speak about it. We are no longer shying away from speaking about these insecurity issues. When you talk about it, it's not about challenging the government or not aligning with the government. No, we are all speaking with one voice. This is a challenge that we are facing as a nation, and every nation in the world has their own challenges. But rising on this occasion, and this government realizing that, yes, all of us are speaking for the good of Nigeria, and that all hands needs to be put on deck, like the president has ordered everybody to be security conscious wherever you are, even if you're a civilian. So now they've realized that we are all clamoring for one thing and we are all pulling together. I am excited, and I feel like I've just said that in no time we'll begin to see significant results in confronting these challenges of insecurity.
All right, thank you very much for that. Now we're moving over to our next paper coming from The Nation headline that says, Emergency on Security, Tinubu OK State Police. Now President Tinubu has officially approved the move towards state policing as part of a broader security emergency plan. With rising concerns across the country, this step is aimed at giving states more power to combat insecurity head-on. Analysts say this could mark one of the biggest shifts in Nigeria's security structure in decades. Mr. Auche, I would like to know your take on this headline.
All right. It's still part of what we're talking about, speaking about the president declaring state of emergency on insecurity, and now giving the direct order that it's time for us to begin to look into the issue of state policing. And if I'm to quote Mr. President directly, he said, I call on National Assembly to begin reviewing our laws to allow states that require state police to establish them. This is quite commendable, David, like I was talking about. And then hearing Mr. President, I continue to say that, yes, Mr. President, I feel that we are heard, that the generality of Nigerians are being listened to. Remember that this clamor for state police is not something of today. It's been at the front burner over time, with people clamoring for state police, and the Mr. President, having listened, is now mandating the National Assembly to begin to expedite action to see that, yes, there are enabling laws that will allow for state policing in Nigeria. When we talk about state policing, when you listen to our security forces, our leaders, you hear that this issue of Nigeria being on the police and having people who know the terrain very well is quite important in combating crime. And with this in place, I can tell you seriously that Mr. President has taken the right steps in the right direction to curbing insecurity in Nigeria, and it's now left for the National Assembly to do the needful. When you look at the clamor for state police, you will see that almost across the length and breadth of Nigeria, almost every region in Nigeria is in support of having state police. Yes, when you listen the socio-cultural organizations across Nigeria, talk about the Omo Duduwa, talk about the Arewa Consulting Forum, talk about the Ohanese, and Pandef and Co. You will see that at one point or the other, they've all clamored for state policing. So I believe that this will get a wide support for Mr. President coming out this time around to give that order for state policing to be looked into. And this, remember, there's already in place the establishment of things like Amotokun in the west. It will have Ebubagu in the east. These are what we are talking about, state policing. But what we're asking now is having the enabling laws that will back it up. That yes, when you establish this, you have the enabling laws, then they will be emboldened to take direct actions to confront insecurity. Remember that is in this region, in the states, that then everyone know their community better than any other individual. So when you have policemen from your state, they will better combat crimes, like against the tradition that we have, where you may have somebody from Sokoto being the commissioner of police in Enugu, where he doesn't know the terrain, he doesn't understand the language. It becomes very difficult for him, and he will only rely on reports. And at times, you know that this report may not be accurate. But when you have someone, an indigenous of an area, policing crime from that place, you will see that they will be very effective in combating the situation. And this, for me, is quite apt. You remember, we always cite the case of that former governor who challenged this nation that throughout his time in office, that there was nothing like a bank robbery or crime of repute, because he empowered the local vigilantes community by community, so that it was so difficult that when you commit a crime in one community, before you get to the next one, they've been radioed and they are waiting for you. They will just nab you instantly. And this is what this is going to do for us, and is quite timely. But the call now should be on the National Assembly, as Mr. President has directed, that they begin to expedite action and begin to engage the state legislatures themselves, so that equally at the state level, everybody will come in tandem and see that this is giving the necessary speed that it's required, to take off. And speak about not just fighting crime, I'm all about the issue of employment in Nigeria. You see that this will open up the space, and a lot of individuals will be employed into the force. People will be engaged as well, engaged meaningfully. Where we're looking at the federal police, being, according to the president, that they should recruit this period about 20,000, and they will scale it up later to 50,000, mandating them to make use of the NYC facilities that we have in the nation as a training ground for this personnel that will be brought in, right? You see that this is a step in the right direction. When the federal are recruiting this number, and this at the state level, you equally have recruitment for state policing as well. That will take a number of people away from the streets. And you see that when you take this maximum number of men away from the streets, look at every state in this instance. There's no way you tell me that if this law is brought into being and is backed, that the states won't recruit at almost of 10,000 individuals into forming a state security. And that will, you see, that number will have a very positive impact on its own, a multiplier effect on the society, and it's quite commendable that we'll look into it. The only place I beg to differ is that it doesn't have to be willing, where the president said any state that is willing, understand, that requires state police. For me, I think it should be, yes, it should be, something that we all go into once. Let the law be such that every state will go into implementation almost at the same time. With that, we won't hear about insecurity in Enugu while Abia State is safe. No, when we go into it generally with the necessary legal framework that will protect from abuse and misuse of state police, then we'll encourage every state to embrace that. A lot of people may argue about funding with this, but in this administration, we've heard that the subnationals, have more funds available to them compared to their previous governments that have been in place. So with that, I believe, and what are the governors doing with the security votes that they have, if not for security? So with that, part of it could go into remuneration, mobilization, and equipping of state policing as well. So for those who argue to abuse of the use of the police in this regard, I should think that they should not be disturbed a lot, because with the necessary laws, it will be difficult to be abused by states. But this is a step in the right direction for us to begin to look at issue of state policing, community policing, because with the level of insecurity, crimes that is happening in Nigeria, I bet you that the federal police is overwhelmed. And when you go to other crimes, go to the United States that we'll talk about, it's not just federal police. You see statures like the state police that we'll talk about. You see even what you have as community police as well. So that's a step in the right direction. It's something that is practiced across the globe. And Nigeria being multi-ethnic nation, this will be a step in the right direction as well, where you have people from the communities as part of the security architecture. Nobody would want anybody to come in and destroy his own village when they are watching. So they will be there, helping the federal police to ensure security of life and property across the length and breadth of the nation. And with that, I will tell you that insecurity would be reduced to the barest minimum in Nigeria, and crime rates would equally be reduced. Kudos to Mr. President for this, and this is step in the right direction. But we encourage the National Assembly to take the decisive action.
All right, thank you very much for that. Now I'll be moving over to the next news today. That says Jonathan trapped in Guinea-Bissau as ECOWAS AU condemn coup. And internationally, former President Goodluck Jonathan reportedly got stuck in Guinea-Bissau amid political chaos following a coup attempt. Both ECOWAS and the African Union have strongly condemned the development, calling for calm and restoration of constitutional order. Mr. Ocha, I would like to know your thoughts.
It's quite unfortunate for Guinea-Bissau, as this West African nation. It's quite unfortunate. This is a nation since independence that has experienced over 3 coups. Yes, they've experienced about 3 or 4 coups since independence, and it's quite unfortunate. These are the ones I'm mentioning. I'm talking about the successful ones. Not talking about the multiplication of coup attempts that they've experienced as a nation, and then coming at this point in time when they are into electionary process. The election were ongoing. We are waiting for the announcement of results. The citizens have voted in this very election, waiting for results to be announced, and then we are now seeing the truncating of the democratic process in that country, where the military has come out to, declare that they've taken control of the state till further notice. It's quite unfortunate for the people of Guinea. But this is why we continue speaking to politicians to be mindful of their action. Remember that in this very election, the sitting President Omaro Embalo, and the opponent Fernando Diaz, each of them came out to declare victory in this election even before the results,
came out,
before the results is being announced, because we are waiting for this result to be announced, and everybody is claiming victory, and that is part of what I will tell you that will trigger the military to spring into action, take the opportunity to take over the country. Though the military General Dennis, who announced the coup, was citing that they've intercepted intelligence about plan to disrupt the peace of the nation by the use of drug lords who are beginning to bring arms into the country and all that, as citing that as a reason why they've stepped up to take control of the leadership of the nation. And it's quite unfortunate that this is a period where we'll have election observers talk about the AU and the EU the ECOWAS observers who are in the country monitoring the election, and this coming up after they've secured the commitment of these both parties to abide by the results of this very election. And this is happening, and we've listened to the AU leader led by Philip Nyosu and Isa of the ECOWAS, and then that's why you see the former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, there, because he is the one leading the African Elders Forum in that very place. And that's why he is there at this point in time. But against the fear of people, I am quite sure that nothing will happen to them. Yeah. And in due time, they will return to their countries. Yes, President Goodluck will return safely, because that's the concern of many people. Why he's being trapped in the nation where there's a queue, there may be chaos and all that. But I know for sure that nobody would want to act funny where these elder statesmen are. Yes, he has gone there to see that the election was conducted peacefully, democratically. But it's quite unfortunate that at the end of the day, we are hearing the military coming to take total control of the country, you know, truncating the democratic process as being witnessed in this very nation. And as the ECOWAS and the AU are being called upon by the secretaries and the commission for the West African states to take control, condemn the coup in Guinea-Bissau, we hope that they will listen. But against the tide of what has been happening around the Sahel states, we really wonder if they would listen and, you know, return the country back to democracy. It's quite unfortunate that the more we encourage more nations, more people to embrace democratic process, that it seems that most African nations are slipping back into dictatorship and military rule. And when you listen to General Dennis, he was saying that the combination of the armed forces of the nation are going to take control of the rule in that nation. But against the democratic will of the people have come out, they voted in mass, and they are waiting for the result to announce. And then next thing you hear the announcement of Q. After gunshots were heard at the presidential palace, and people are being held incommunicado as we speak. And as we are talking, press freedom is no longer granted because they've placed embargo on all press-related issues at the moment. So it's quite unfortunate, but we hope that from the pressure from AU and the ECOWAS would perhaps make them, you know, capitate and return the country back to a democratically elected leader. And that's the path to toe. But quite unfortunate. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much for that, and also thank you very much for staying with us to this moment. And don't forget that you could grab physical copies from any of your favorite vendor or catch the e-paper online for more broader information. We'll be right back after the break.
The Insight with Uche Osai.
Having the political will to confront whatever is the challenges.
Igbo man wrestles with
the tortoise that had a lot of ingenuity, a lot of ideas, and the tireless.
It will take the bold mind of government in power to say, let there be electoral reform, no matter who sorts is God.
I was there. We did everything. All of us came and supported him with our last blood.
In-depth analysis, expert views, real voices, uncover the stories shaping Nigeria today. Deep dive, honest, unfiltered, only on the Insight with Uche Osai on Aneke TV. Join us.
Sunrise on Aneke TV. Now we'll be taking the sports news. The Nigerian Table Tennis Federation has protested to the International Table Tennis Federation after Nigerian youth players were denied visas for the World Youth Championship in Romania. Nigeria had qualified to represent Africa in both the under-19 and under-15 boys categories. NTTF President Adesoji Tayo described the visa refusal as discriminatory and a setback to the development of young Nigerian athletes. He said the team had undergone an extensive preparation and incurred substantial expenses ahead of the competition. Tayo urged the global body to intervene urgently, warning that Nigeria should not be penalized or financially burdened for a withdrawal forced by circumstances beyond its control. And still on sports, Falcon Corporation Limited has secured a significant investment from Energy and LLP, a subsidiary of Evercorp Industries, aimed at expanding Nigeria's gas infrastructure. The investment following the acquisition of equity previously held by BKM and S Consult Limited, signaling investor confidence in Nigerian gas markets. And still on sports, the 2025 Adova Handball Premier League Phase 2 commenced in Lagos with an intense opening round at Royal Park Sports Center. The men's category witnessed a dramatic 26-26 draw between defending champions Toj Marine Handball Club and Kowas Shooters, signaling a competitive season ahead. Other matches saw Safety Shooters defeat Ocean United 25-15, while Rima Strikers overpowered Benue Buffaloes 36-16. And now that is your news on sports.
And then more updates on the Champions League matches that were played yesterday. We had FC Copenhagen beating Amati 3-2. And then moving over to the other matches that were played across the Champions League as well. We had Arsenal beating Bayern Munich 3-1. And then we saw the champions, the defending champions of England, being thrashed by the visitors, PSV Eindhoven. Quite unfortunate for them.
Yeah.
And then giving you more updates on matches to be expected that will be played today. We'll look at AS Roma visiting being visited by Mayati Land, and then Aston Villa will host Young Boys in their match day. We'll have FC Porto playing host to Nice from Italy, and then we'll have Fenerbahce hosting Ferencvaros and Feyenoord hosting Celtic. And then at the other in France, we'll have Lille hosting Dynamo Zagreb later today. And that's it for the sports updates on football.
All right, thank you very much for that. Now we'll be moving over to our celebration for today, which is the International Day of Engagement in Science for Sustainable Development. Now today, the world is shining a spotlight on a key celebration, the International Day of Engagement in Science for Sustainable Development. This day is all about reminding us that science isn't just for laboratories or textbooks. It is a powerful tool that shapes our daily lives, our environment, and our future. Science plays a major role in solving global challenges from climate change, clean energy, and food security to public health and technology. And then today's observance encourages everyone, governments, schools, communities, and individuals to participate actively in scientific learning and innovation. Now, what does they promote? It promotes awareness, helping people understand how science drives sustainable development, and also the engagement, inspiring young people to study science and pursue careers in STEM fields. The innovation today is encouraging the creation of new ideas and technology that protect the environment, and also bringing researchers, policymakers, and communities together to solve real-world problems. And why this day matters? It matters because without science, the world cannot effectively tackle issues like pollution, poor health systems, natural disasters, and poverty. Sustainable development depends on informed decision, and science gives us facts and tools to make those decisions wisely. So as we step into today with purpose, let's remember that science is not far away from us. It's in our farms, our hospitals, our roads, our gadgets, even in the water we drink. This day invites us to stay curious, stay informed, and support innovations that makes our world cleaner, safer, and more sustainable. So happy International Day of Engagement in Science for Sustainable Development to you all. And up next, we'll be taking a look at our business reports.
All right, next we're looking at the stock markets. The Nigerian Stock Exchange market as at yesterday, the Nigerian stock market experienced a slight rebound, breaking a 6-day long streak. The all-share index appreciated by 0.10% to close at 143,763.13 points. And then, talking about the market capitalization, The market gained 94.47 billion, closing at 91.44 trillion. Then the market made a statement. Things turned positive with 26 advancing stocks outweighing 20 decliners. Then the key drivers yesterday in the market who had the positive close coincided with the Central Bank of Nigeria's Monetary Policy Committee decision to hold benchmark interest rate at 27%. Now let's take a look at the top 5 gainers. Leading the gainers yesterday was ICO Insurance. ICO Insurance closed with the price at 3.52 naira, again making a percentage change of plus 10%. And then we'll look at NCR Nigeria PLC on the second place of the gainers yesterday, closing at 49.70, making plus 9.96% change. And then next is the Ikeja Hotel PLC, which closed at 25 naira, making plus 9.41% change. And then we'll look at Prestige Assurance Company PLC that closed at 1 naira 60 kobo, being traded with the name Prestige, making a percentage change of plus 7.38%. And then we had Sterling Holding equally in the range. And then we'll take a look at the top 5 losers at the stock markets as at yesterday. We had Len Africa PLC, which is traded as Len Africa, closing at 5.22 naira, 5 naira 22 kobo, making a percentage change of minus 10%. And then next losers in the list is Cabri Nigeria PLC, which is traded as Cabri, closing yesterday at 53 naira 10 kobo, making a percentage change of minus 9.92%. Then over to Maya PLC, which is traded as Maya, closing yesterday at 14 naira 55 kobo, making a percentage change of 9.91%. And then we'll look at another loser in the list is UPDC PLC, which is traded as UPDC, which closed yesterday at 5 naira 47 kobo, making the percentage change at minus 8.83% yesterday in the market. And that's it for this and the stock market update.
All right, now that's all for today's edition on Sunrise on Aneke TV. It's always a pleasure having you here on our show every morning, and please do not forget to follow us across our social media platforms across Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, X, all at Aneke TV, or call our phone number 07030437110. I'm Deborah Wakoba.
And I'm Uche Osai. Remember, you're not here to be average. Keep watching Aneke TV to come your way same time. Bye-bye. The Insight with Uche Osai.
Having the political will to confront whatever is the challenges.
Igbo man wrestles with
the tortoise that had a lot of ingenuity, a lot of ideas, and the tireless.
It will take the bold mind of government in power to say, let there be electoral reform, no matter who sorts is God.
I was there. We did everything. All of us came and supported him with our last blood.
In-depth analysis, expert views, real voices, uncover the stories shaping Nigeria today. Deep dive, honest, unfiltered, only on The Insight with Uche Osai on Aneke TV. Join us.
Ebonyi State, the salt of the nation. Located in the heart of southeastern Nigeria, is a story of transformation, resilience, and pride. Created on October 1, 1996, by the administration of General Sani Abacha, the state was carved out from parts of Enugu and Abia states. Its capital, Abakaliki, has grown from a quiet provincial settlement into one of the most rapidly developing urban centers in the region. The name Ebonyi is derived from the Ebonyi River, while its slogan, the salt of the nation, reflects the state's historic salt deposits in Amachara and Uburu, which were once central to trade and local industry. These salt lakes stand as living symbols of self-reliance and the resourcefulness of the Ebonyi people. Culturally, Ebonyi is a proud custodian of Igbo heritage. The people are known for their strong communal spirit, creativity, and deep connection to their traditions. The New Yam Festival, Ogene music, Nkwa Umwaboho dance, and the colorful displays of masquerades all reflect the beauty and vibrancy of the state's cultural life. In villages across the land, poetry, weaving, and blacksmithing are still practiced, reminding visitors that in Ebonyi, the past lives side by side with modern aspirations. Blessed with rich soil and abundant natural resources, Ebonyi is a major producer of rice, yam, cassava, maize, and palm produce. The Abakaliki rice mill, one of the oldest in Nigeria, remains a symbol of the state's agricultural heritage and its determination to feed the nation. Beneath its soil lie deposits of limestone, lead, zinc, marble, and of course, salt, all pointing to vast opportunities for industrial growth and investment. Over the years, Ebonyi has produced remarkable men and women who have made their mark on the national stage. Dr. Sam Igu, the state's first civilian governor and the former Minister of Education. Chief Martin Elichi, an accomplished administrator. Senator Animpayo Sanim, a former Senate President and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, and Engineer David Umahi, a visionary leader and the current Minister of Works, all embody the drive and discipline that define the Ebonyi spirit. From education to public service, from entrepreneurship to civic leadership, Ebonians continue to excel and inspire a new determined to shape a brighter future. The lessons from Ebonyi's story are clear. It teaches the power of vision, unity, and perseverance. It reminds us that no beginning is too humble and no dream too distant. Through hard work and community efforts, the people of Ebonyi have turned their challenges into opportunities, rewriting their destiny with faith and determination. Today, Ebonyi stands tall, a land of salt and substance, of culture and courage, of tradition and transformation. The salt of the nation continues to shine, seasoning the story of Nigeria with hope, progress, and pride.
Abia State, nicknamed God's Own State, was created on August 27, 1991, from the old Imo State by the military administration of General Ibrahim Babangida. Its name, Abia, is an acronym for Aba, Bende, Isikwato, and Afiuku Umahia, the four major areas that initially comprised the state. The state lies in Nigeria's southeast and is inhabited predominantly by the Igbo ethnic group, who are known for their enterprise, hospitality, and vibrant cultural practices. Before state creation, the region was part of the Eastern region and played notable roles in Nigeria's pre- and post-independence history. One landmark event was Aba Women's Riot of 1929, a mass protest by women against colonial taxation, which began in the Aba area and influenced policy changes across Nigeria. Abia State is naturally endowed with fertile soil for agriculture and solid mineral resources such as limestone, kaolin, and laterite. Oil and gas are also found in some parts of the state, making it one of Nigeria's oil-producing areas. Economically, Aba is a powerhouse of trade and manufacturing, especially in textiles, leather works, and metal fabrication, earning it the nickname Japan of Africa. Abia State's cuisine reflects Igbo culinary traditions with popular dishes including achi and oha soup. It is a thickened soup made from oha leaves and achi seeds. Okazi soup. It is rich with okazi leaves and cocoyam paste. Abacha, African salad, made from cassava flakes, palm oil, and local spices. Ofe nsala, white soup, a light soup often cooked with fresh fish, beef or chicken. Palm wine, a traditional beverage tapped fresh from raffia or oil palm trees. Abia State has different notable attractions, and they include National War Museum Umuahia, housing relics and weapons from the Nigerian Civil War. Akwete Weaving Village, famous for its centuries-old traditional cloth weaving. Azumiri Blue River. This is known for its clear blue waters and scenic beauty. Amakama Wooden Cave, a natural hollow in a giant tree with cultural significance. Long Juju of Arochukwu, an ancient shrine and historic slave trade route site. Abia State celebrates various cultural festivals such as New Yam Festival, Iriji, marking the start of the harvest season. Ekpe Festival, a masquerade and dance tradition in Arochukwu and other areas. Akwete Festival, celebrating the art and heritage of Akwete weaving. Aba Carnival. This carnival showcases dance, music, and colorful parades. Abia State is known for its entrepreneurship and Aba-made goods like shoes, bags, clothes, and mechanical fabrications. It is also known for agriculture, especially cassava, yam, oil palm, and cocoa, cultural craftsmanship like Akwete cloth, pottery, and wood carving, and their historic significance, especially in women's rights activism. 1929 Aba Women's Riot.
The Osu-Ohu caste divide in Igbo society took center stage at the just concluded 4th Enugu Diocesan Synod held at the Holy Ghost Cathedral, Enugu. Under the theme, The Problem of Osu and Ohu in Our Communities and the Amadi Diala Linkage, Uniting God's Igbo Children, Njikozi Igbo Umochukwu. The gathering drew clergy, laity, and traditional leaders into an honest confrontation with one of the region's most enduring social challenges. The Emeritus Archbishop of Owerri and the head of Owerri Metropolitan See, Most Reverend Anthony J.V. Obinna, delivered the landmark paper tracing the historical roots, distortions, and human rights implications of the caste system. He described the hierarchy as an ancient but harmful legacy that contradicts Christian teachings and modern understanding of human dignity. Despite centuries of Christianity and legal reforms, Archbishop Obinna observed that discrimination persists in marriage, chieftaincy selection, and land ownership. He highlighted institutional efforts to tackle the problem, including the 2022 Joint Pastoral Directive by Catholic bishops in Onitsha and Owerri, which condemned caste segregation as obnoxious and incompatible with the Christian faith. He also referenced the 1956 abolition of the Osu designation by the Eastern Nigeria House of Assembly, noting that enforcement across Igbo states remains inconsistent. Human rights organizations like Pillars of Hope Africa Initiative have assisted traditional rulers in formally abolishing the caste system in parts of Imo State. The Archbishop outlined key social labels, also individuals historically dedicated to deities, Ohu, those bought or captured as slaves or considered strangers, Amadi Diala, the so-called freeborn, often upholding discriminatory barriers, and Ume, a lesser-known category associated with alleged early death in some areas, facing harsh stigmatization. He stressed that while definitions vary, all these labels share a legacy of exclusion and social stigma. Archbishop Obinna urged all Ndibo, regardless of caste label, to reclaim their God-given identity. The Amadi Diala, he said, must renounce claims of superiority, while Osu and Ohu and Ume should reject feelings of inferiority. True reform, he emphasized, requires heartfelt repentance, personal and communal, not just formal declarations. He outlined 5 steps towards healing: reject false caste identities, renounce derogatory attitudes and joke, confess past wrongs, resolve to end divisive practices, and embrace forgiveness rooted in love and humility. Only through sustained repentance, the Archbishop said, can Ndi Igbo break free from centuries of inherited prejudice. The Enugu Synod's engagement with the Osu-Owo question represented a significant moment for Igbo society. By confronting discrimination openly, the Holy Ghost Cathedral has set a blueprint for reform, inspiring communities across Igbo land to uphold dignity, unity, and equality under God.
Beauty is not a mirror's gift. It lives deeper in how we listen, how we love, how we live. It's the kindness that lingers and the courage that doesn't quit. The world may sell perfection, but real beauty is flawed, fierce, and free. It's in stretch marks and smile lines, in stories and scars. When you see someone who glows, it's not their skin, it's their soul breaking through. That's beauty, raw, radiant, and real. God. God is not far. He is in the stillness after the chaos, in the laughter of children, in the stranger who smiled at you for no reason. He is not confined to buildings or books. He walks with us in dust and rain, in heartbreak and healing. He is the answer before we even speak. To seek God is to seek love, and to find God, truly find Him, is to love deeper, live fuller, and give without counting.
From the tiniest cells to the farthest galaxies, life holds secrets we are only beginning to uncover. Why are we here? What connects us all? What unseen forces shape our destiny? Join Professor Jude Udenta as he explores the wonders, the questions, and the revelations that define existence. Mysteries of life, where every answer sparks a new discovery. Watch now on Aneke TV every Monday.
The Insight with Uche Osai.
Having the political will to confront whatever is the challenges.
Igbo man wrestles with
the tortoise that had a lot of ingenuity, a lot of ideas, and the tireless.
It will take the bold mind of government in power to say, let there be electoral reform, no matter who sorts is God.
I was there. We did everything. All of us came and supported him with our last blood.
In-depth analysis, expert views, real voices. Uncover the stories shaping Nigeria today. Deep dive, honest, unfiltered, only on The Insight with Uche Osai on Aneke TV. Join us.
Speaking at the 4th Enugu Diocesan Synod held at Holy Ghost Cathedral, Enugu, Mr. Obi described the church as a vital institution for moral formation, stressing that education without values cannot build a stable and progressive society. He expressed concern over deepening poverty and insecurity across the country, linking them to the growing number of idle and unemployed youth. Mr. Obi urged churches to intensify skills development, mentorship, and entrepreneurship support for young people. The former governor also criticized the celebration of corrupt public officials in religious spaces, insisting that the church must promote accountability and uphold ethical standards. Highlighting Nigeria's vast uncultivated farmland, Mr. Obi called for greater youth involvement in agriculture to boost food security, drawing comparisons with smaller nations achieving higher productivity.
He concluded by urging religious institutions to return to their core mission of raising disciplined, value-driven, and productive citizens capable of transforming the nation over the next 2 decades. I'm Deborah Wakoba, Aneke TV News. Inside the Holy Ghost Cathedral in Enugu, celebration and spiritual transition as 14 young men answer a lifelong call to the Catholic priesthood. But beyond the liturgical beauty, the ceremony also became a moment of sober reflection. Archbishop Michael Crotty, the papal representative to Nigeria, praised the Diocese of Enugu for successfully concluding its 4th synod, a major consultation where the faithful openly voiced concerns about how the church is being shepherded. One concern stood out: the misuse of clerical authority. The nuncio said many Catholics are stepping back from church life because of experiences with priests who display arrogance, seek financial power, or ignore those they serve. Actions he described as spiritually damaging. He told the new priest that their vows are a commitment to serve, not to dominate, to lift up the broken-hearted, and to bring hope where people feel abandoned. He urged them to stay united with their bishop, support one another as brothers, and resist the temptation of materialism, quoting Christ's charge to carry no purse, no bag, no sandals. For the Diocese of Enugu, these ordinations come with renewed expectations that these new priests will rebuild community, deepen pastoral care, and embody a church that listens to its people.
I am glad that this ordination ceremony today is taking place in the context of the 4th Synod of your diocese, focused on the practice of faith in Enugu Diocese, opportunities and challenges. Yes, every challenge that we encounter is but an opportunity for God's grace. It is an opportunity for us to grow in the grace of God if we turn to God and place that challenge before Him so that it may become for us an opportunity of His grace. And from the many topics that you have discussed, and from the responses of the people of God on the topics for discussion, abuse of clerical powers, it has become clear that the people, in the face of the misuse of clerical authority by some priests, I'm sure it is not all priests, by some priests, and I hope it is a very few, would like to see a change in how priests exercise their pastoral authority. For when a priest displays arrogance, it breeds resentment